And welcome back to another update video. Catch you guys up on what's been going on. A lot of progress, but not a lot of progress. We'll just try to go through everything one at a time. So, as previously stated, I had to switch the brakes from the C6 Z06 to the C5 brakes. I just saved too much money on my wheels, and I didn't want to have to run a crazy spacer just for the clearance. Also, in the rear electric parking brake department, the bracket I designed came out great, except for it's a bit tight. I need to be able to add some space here, and to do that I've got to redesign the bracket because this motor part hits the bracket. But that's a pretty simple fix. All of the dimensional holes are correct. This arm just needs to be brought out here like that, and then I'll be able to adjust it a whole bunch. So that's in the works currently right now. The new brakes required new brake hoses. This is the model number for the rear that I used, StopTech. Stainless braved lines. And this is the model number for the front. Also StopTech. Well, we're at the front. If you look and see, at full lock, we barely have any room from that strut rod. And with the tire popping out a little bit on each side, that's probably gonna rub. So I ordered tubular lower control arms from Full Tilt Street Rods in Colorado. Shout out to Clay, super nice guy. They make a really nice product in-house. They also make, just for your reference, what they call a Ford into Ford lower control arm. It changes the dimension of the mount, but not the dimension for the shocks or the ball joint. So on the new one, it's going to mount here, and there's going to be a spacer. Let me move this. That gets welded on here, and the other control arm mount will mount about out here. So it'll look pretty similar to one of these. Any of you guys that have been into Mustang 2 or seen some other, those kind of hot rod arms will be familiar with it. The trick with their Ford into Ford is because most of those cars that run the Mustang 2 conversion suspension, the engine sits here in this area, and the oil pan has to actually go over your steering rack. Well, to fit the mounts, the steering rack has to be spaced out with those spacers you can see right there. When you do that, it starts to bump into the oil pan here on this side. It's not a problem on the Cobra since the engine sits in this area, actually behind the front suspension, so that's not a thing I have to worry about, but just so you guys are aware. Another thing I wanted to touch base in my review while I'm building this of this chassis from Antique and Collectible Autos overall is I've seen 3 different setups on 3 different customers' chassis for the same Cobra. I've seen my style that I have with these horizontal bolts for the rear coilovers and whatever you call this kind of bucket type or whatever with the post here. I've seen a customer's picture of a Cobra with those reversed. And I've seen a customer's Cobra with both of these kind, I believe. I don't know if they changed it, if there's different variables, or they just run what they have. Just letting you know, I've seen those customer pictures before. You can actually reference my chassis and go on the AC Collectible Autos website. They have some pictures there, but if you go on their Facebook page, there's some posts of a chassis going out, and another customer posted a picture of their chassis around this stage, maybe a little bit higher, but you can clearly see in that picture this type of coilover is in the rear and that rear type is in the front. I'm sure it makes some kind of difference. Whether it's technical enough to be bothered by or not, I don't know. Now in my particular 9-inch rear end, I am running an Eaton TrueTrack. They recommend an 80-90 gear oil, regular mineral gear oil, not synthetic at all. However, when you buy this type of rear end from Curry Enterprises, they recommend you run their 85 W140, something like that. Could be wrong. It's pretty easy to look up. Basically more of like a GL6 rated. They talk about the technical issues as to why. It makes sense, but I don't know. I have to trust their expertise. I reached out to Eaton about the difference between their recommended 80W90 versus Curry's. They never got back to me. So to make sure that I'm valid under the Eaton TrueTrack warranty, I went with what they recommended. Now, if you've got a Curry rear end, to be compliant with their warranty, you have to use their 85 140 or whatever it is, or like Torco Racing, something like that. They make a similar GL6 one. You have to use one of those. So just word to the wise, that's kind of what you're looking at with these 9-inch rear ends, just a mix of information. It's all fun stuff. It's one of the X-Tracker hubs, the nicer hubs that I'm going with. This one I've converted over to the 5x4.5 for the Ford style wheels that I got. You can see the Chevy holes there. The other one's up here. I've got to do that. Those studs are in backwards. I just screwed them into check threads and stuff. That's a real pain to do by myself with very limited tools. If I had a CNC or there was a machine shop local to me, they could knock it out and it'd be awesome. Back to the front end, I keep running it through my mind that I want to replace these upper arms with SPC. The model number specifically is SPC 94,000, I believe, for the Mustang 2. It's adjustable for caster and camber. You can see there's a little bit of probably what's called anti-dive in this setup. This rear bolt is lower than the front one for hard braking. It's supposed to just help, possibly gives it a little bit of extra stability, but it's not adjustable. Usually on these Mustang 2 suspensions, I think I said it before, these mounts are vertical and they're slotted, so you can adjust it if necessary at an alignment shop. But this setup like this, sent from them, all you can adjust is your toe angle, which is how straight the wheel is compared to the other one. When it's going in a straight line, caster and camber is really important for the rest of the handling. So I might make that upgrade. It's a pricey upgrade. They're about $250 a piece. It's a $500 upgrade, excuse me. Just so that you're aware for anybody kind of following along. I am trying to do this as a budget, shooting for around $20,000 for a complete Cobra. But with everything brand new, obviously, and a rebuilt engine. A brand new engine would put it way, way over, but you have options. The other thing I have to check once I get the new lower control arms all on and set up, I'll take the coilover off and just run it through the range. Since there's no weight, I can't jack up against the spring, and to check for bump steer. They do make bump steer kits, which extend this length usually here. So that'll eliminate any of that. Simplified version of bump steer, as the wheel goes up, this angle and pivot arm is a different length than the other two, which causes the wheel as it goes up and down to turn. That's not a good thing, especially if you're racing in just a normal street car that you're just kind of driving on regular roads, normal speed limit, safe ways of driving. It's probably not that big of a deal, though it could mess up the wear on your tires. Other than that, continuing going forward, we're going to get the other hub addressed. I'm finishing up the CAD file for this bracket version 2. Once this bracket version 2 is done, I might make it available. Adjusting this difference in CAD, just in and out for the different kinds of Corvette brakes, is pretty easy. Someone might be able to contact me if they have a Core 3 Corvette bracket set up for their Ford 9-inch rear end. It'll only work for Core 3 Corvette brakes for Ford 9-inch rear ends. I don't have any of the reference stuff to build one for anything else, but simple bracket bolts on in place of the Core 3 part, which is this bracket. So this is what Core 3 sends you, along with the retaining bracket. And that's the area that I copied and replaced. Everything going over, you can do 2 additional mount screws, put those out so that you can run these Willwood electric parking brakes specifically. It's a very specific setup, but I don't have a problem making it available for people. Also, I had previously mentioned using Send Cut Send. They're all over YouTube, you hear about them. I'm sure they're awesome guys. I went to Xometry, another laser cutting company. They're kind of back east. I don't remember off the top of my head where they're at. All right, sorry for the weird cut. My phone apparently overheated. I was almost done too. So basically, Xometry, same steel. I don't know about turnaround time because I've never ordered anything from Send Cut Send, but as you can see, I'm not in a hurry. 50% less than the same order from Send Cut Send at Xometry. Xometry. I can't complain. I'm not in a hurry. Maybe some of the guys that run fab shops or something need stuff quicker. Yeah, do Send Cut Send, especially if you're local to the area that they're in, which like I said, I believe is Southern California. Didn't bother me. Now, even though I have to redo this bracket to make those adjustments for that parking brake caliper, I'm out the same price as if I would have just ordered these originally from Send Cut Send. So, especially since I made that mistake, I definitely feel like I made the right choice, saving some money. You guys can do what you want. There's multiple other companies besides them out there that all do this same kind of cutting service. Check them out. Been pleased with them. They possibly had a shortage or a delay, so they immediately changed my shipping to faster shipping for free to compensate for it. So I can't fault them there. That's awesome customer service. I didn't even have to reach out to them. I wasn't even aware of it. They let me know. I might have touched base on the last episode just before we take off, but I'm not sure. Had to get some washers. That was not able to tighten this down going in anymore. There's a little bit of gap. I reached out to Viking and they said, yeah, no problem. Any kind of washers, get you in there and get you straight. So thank you guys for watching. That's where we're at so far. When I get those new lower control arms for the front, I will make another video and go over that process because that's going to be fun. Thank you.